All right, histograms. Histograms are a graphical representation of a frequency table. So it represents how many of each data set in a visual manner. What you might be thinking, they look a lot like column graphs or bar graphs, and I'll just draw your attention to this. The difference is you would use a bar graph or column graph if you have categories like countries or favorite movie or favorite foods, but when we're dealing with number and number ranges, that's where our histogram comes into play. So looking at this in reality, here's our frequency table, and we're looking at the number of siblings. So how many people have 0 siblings? There's our frequency there of 15 people. How many people have 1 sibling? A few more people there, 20. And how many people have 2 siblings? Slightly less. And only 2 people have 3 siblings. So how do we represent that as a histogram? So we're going to put the number of siblings across the bottom. So our options are 0 siblings, and then let's put a divider about, I don't know, there, and 1, 2, and the last category is 3. So those are the only options. That's the range. So those are the number of siblings. Get a bit sloppy there. And then up the vertical is where we put the frequency. And you're going to write that nice and neatly, not like I just did. So what do we have? We're going up to 20, so let's go by 5s. 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, and always go a little bit higher than we need to. Okay, so now let's look. So 0 siblings, that's 15 people responded to that. So we draw a straight line. That was my straight line. And there is our first column of our histogram. 15 people have 0 siblings. 20 people have 1 sibling. So we're going to make that line go up to here. And we're going to you're going to do a much nicer job of this. And now we've got a frequency of 13 people have 2. So 13 is just a little bit below 15, so slightly more. And fill in that puppy there. And then only 2 people have 3 siblings, so that's going to be way down here, maybe a little bit lower. And so now we've made a sloppy version. Yes, a computer would do a better job of this, but sometimes we just need to do it ourselves. It looks a bit like SpongeBob. Now, sometimes we can categorize then the frequency into groups. So number of words in a short story here, somewhere between 0 to 99. And that happens twice. Is the short story between 100 and 199? There's 10 of that. So let's put this out here on our histogram. So down here we want the number of words. So we want to label that x-axis or the horizontal axis in our story. And let's look at the range. Well, from 0 up is our first category. Hopefully I spaced this out right. And then from 100 up is our next category, from 200 up, 300 up, and 400 up. Or we could just put a 500 there, and that could be our marking. So we've got to put our frequency on. We're going to put it on. Let's try and write this really neatly, Mr. Burson. Frequency. And it looks like from all these numbers, it looks like it makes sense to put 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8. Is that going to give me enough? 10, 12, and 1 more for good luck. So now let's put in from 0 to 99. That's a frequency of 2. So we go up to the 2 and color that in nicely. How many of these books were 100 up? That looks like that was a much greater amount. That was 10. So we'll go right up to 10. Notice how good my ruler skills are. I don't remember. Look at that, SpongeBob. That's great fun. Then the next one, we've got a frequency of 12 are between 200 and 299. So 12, we've got a nice line there that we can reach and use my ruler and fill that in. Books that are 300 and above, not quite reaching 400, there are 8 of those. So I'll go up to the 8 line. You could divide that differently if you wanted to. You don't have to use 2, 4, 6, 8 and go by 3s, but it just made sense for me to do it that way. And then the last group, this is the one that doesn't quite fit on the even scale here. There's 3 of them, so we got to go somewhere right in between to get a frequency of 3. And that is a sloppy version of how you create your own histograms from frequency table.